Welcome to newspaper analysis session. The headings of newspaper for today is issue is going on in the Manipur. Not that exam relevant. Let's see how the events turn out to be. The issue is basically related to a transport, like the bus was traveling from, after attending some state festival, the bus was carrying local people, the press, and also certain other people. But while traveling, they have asked to cover the Manipur on the bus service. Whatever the name that was written, the Manipur Transport Services. They were asked to cover that thing. So some protest is going on. So why that was asked and all. So nothing much from the exam perspective. If anything, they are asking for an apology from the government and all. So if anything from exam perspective turns out to be, then we will discuss. If you can see here, the same issues are going on between Israel and Gaza, Russia and Ukraine. The same issues are continuing. So the caste count means to include those left behind, PM. So you need to be aware of what is the caste census. So we will discuss the topic caste census. So basically, caste census means simply they are in a systematical manner and organized manner gathering the information of the people's caste. They are collecting what is the particular caste, what is the caste of this particular community or group of people. So at every household, while gathering the census information, they will also get the caste information. So currently, whenever the census is going on, they will not ask you what is your caste, what is your subcaste or any such things. This process was discontinued after the 1951. During the British time period, in 1881 to 1931, caste enumeration used to be the practice. But after 1951, we discontinued this process and we are only taking the data regarding the scheduled tribes and the scheduled castes. Rest of the other castes were not considered. Now there is a new debate, new discussion that caste census has to be conducted. So during the census process, the caste related data will also be taken up. Previously, this was demanded by the opposition party, but it was somehow opposed by the government. Now government, they have made a policy decision that caste census will be conducted. So this is a basic understanding about the caste census. Now, when we are talking about the caste census, the first thing should come into your mind is why? Why caste census? In India, you have people, but for the people, the caste is the most important factor. It is a very important identity. Caste has not left India. Though we always want to make India a casteless society, but it is not always possible. Even back those days, even during the freedom struggle and all, Gandhiji was also not totally against the caste system. He was against the oppression caused in the name of the caste, but he is not completely against the caste system itself. So completely doing away with the caste is not possible, and it is deeply entrenched in the society, and our society runs on these caste factors. So it is important for us to have data regarding the caste, which person belongs to which caste. Now currently we are providing reservations also, we are providing various supports also to various caste communities. So without data, what will you do? If you have proper data, then we can make evidence-based policy. We can also provide reforms in the reservation also. So there is a talk that only certain caste people are gathering all the benefits. Not every caste is getting benefited. So why not we get the proper data and we can see which caste is progressing in terms of the economic front or socio-economic front, or which caste is not progressing socio-economically. So when we have the data, we can make policies. It is not just about the reservation policy. We can also make certain other specific policies, targeting one specific community. So having information about something is always very important and very good thing. Today everything is driven by the data. So what can we do without data? It is very difficult to run any kind of policy. So that's the basic intention behind having the caste census. Very simple thing. Okay, why do we gather the data? For the policy making, for the evidence based policy making, to ensure the social justice. Why social justice? What is the meaning behind the social justice? Means every community is getting their fair returns. So that is what simply social justice means. Now, if I have the data of all the communities, then I can be in a better position to make sure there is a social justice to all the communities. This is the scenario. So very simple thing. They will ask, there is very high possibility they can ask the mains question on this caste census. Whether do we need caste census or not? What are the challenges? Of course, we need the caste census. So what are the points we will talk about? Benefits of the caste census. This is a social imperative. Means socially it is possible. That's what I was trying to say. We are driven by this caste factors. In India, caste is deeply entrenched. So you cannot completely do away with the caste. So why not have its proper data? So this is a social need for us to have the data, to have the information, and legal imperative. Okay, because social justice policies like this is what I was talking about. Reservations in education, jobs need accurate caste data, right? When you have the proper data, then you can make better policies. Administrative decisions also. Accurate caste data can ensure that benefits reach the right people and prevents dominant group from monopolizing the resources. Not just the reservations, everywhere, anything you can do. Okay? So that's how you will generate the points. And these were the things I was talking about: evidence-based policy making, social justice, okay, preventing allied capture. Detailed caste data can prevent dominant groups from monopolizing resources and opportunities. So if particular X community is not getting or have high instance of the poverty, then government can take certain measures to target that particular community. Okay, this is what we are talking about, evidence-based policy making. This is what I meant when I say social justice. Okay, this is the thing. But then if these are the advantages, why is the government not doing this thing? Government, like say after independence, they have stopped this process, but in the 2011, they have went for the socio-economic caste census. There they have faced the administrative difficulty. Like certain people are not willing to say in details about their caste. And what happens is in some, the surname is same, but the caste is different. It has created a lot of confusion. There are many subcastes within the main caste. So there was a kind of administrative difficulty. Some people, they don't want to mention their caste. Okay, they associate with the higher caste. And some people, they are also afraid that if the data is shared, government may change the policies, like whatever the reforms we are talking about. So they may not give the right information, hide the information. And also in the 2011 socio-economic caste census, the questionnaire was not fixed. It was a open-ended. So this was also reason why there was so much of confusion while collecting the data. So these were the particular reasons, and also government thought why to strengthen this caste identities by collecting the caste census. This was a thought the government used to have. Okay, this might further strengthen the caste-based identities. This was the thought government used to carry, but now this has changed because today everything is data-driven. The more data you have, the better accuracy and better policies you have. Okay, there was a Rohini committee. This Rohini committee also said, okay, Rohini commission. So this is the commission that has said within the OBC category, just 10 OBC castes cornered 25% of the all public jobs in education seats reserved for the OBC, while 25% of the OBC castes secured 97% of the benefits. Okay, so this is why the reform is needed. So whenever you have proper data, then creamy layer can be imposed. So those benefits can be we can change the policy so that the benefits are reaching to the people who actually deserves it. Who are the vulnerable categories? They are receiving the right benefits, right? So these are the things. So what should be the suggestions here? Instead of going for the open-ended questionnaire, go for the closed-ended questionnaire. So give them clarity. What are the questions that has to be asked? And also pass a law so that this process is properly strengthened. If there is a legal backing for the caste census, then it will be much more effective. And at the same time, train the people, whoever is enumerating the data or gathering the data, they should be properly trained. What are the questions they should ask? So how the information has to be entered in. So this kind of framework the people should carry. Okay, this is the thing that is needed. So they will, in the mains, very high possibility, they will ask, do you think India need caste census? Or what are the challenges does India get while going for the caste census? So they can ask this in the society part, GS1 society, or they can ask in the governance part. So we have, if the mains questions is asked, we have why it is required, 5 points, and what are the challenges it is required. So I have gone through various articles in the 2024, 2023, 2025. I did not find any 1 point more than this. These are the same points that are being repeated. So if you read the points that I have provided here, so challenges and the significance and the historical context, be it the Times of India or the Hindu, these are the only things. If they have to ask for the prelims, what kind of thing they will ask? They will ask like this fact, 1881 to 1931, British used to collect the census. After that, we have discontinued. We have collected the caste related information in the 2011, but that is not the during time of the census. Okay, for every 10 years, we will collect the census information. Okay, this socioeconomic caste census was a different process. Now, whatever the caste census will be collected during the census process. Census got delayed. Okay, it has to be supposed to be happen. This census process should be conducted during 2021, but because of the COVID, it got delayed. Now, still it is getting delayed, but it has to be streamlined. The government is delaying somehow. So, is this topic clear? Okay. So, nothing complicated here. Very simple thing. So, you might have seen the prelims paper. Okay. So, there are good number of questions from the current affairs. So, you guys might have realized the importance of the current affairs. So, when you study for 1 year, the current affairs become easy for you. It is not that difficult. Only thing is required is consistency. Stick to one source, consistently revise, and for the static part, of course, Reflection IAS is doing definitely a good job. Okay, you stick to they are like even at the static part also for one source. Don't think this institute might be doing that thing, that institute might be doing that thing. No, first in the initial phase, build your basics properly. Then in the second phase, you have to test your basics by attempting questions, both prelims as well as the mains. Initially, you do with the PYQs. When you are studying the concepts, revise those concepts and try solving PYQs. Once this part is done, then you can go for the test series. Okay. So when you do this process in an organized manner, static plus current affairs for 1 year, definitely you will score very good in the prelims. The paper, though it is some part of it is factual, and definitely there was a good amount of static conceptual questions, which can be easily done even in the exam hall. Okay, so your strategy should be same. The statics, which is the basic part of the like UPSC syllabus from every subject, you should be very strong in those areas. Current affairs, you should be studying them for 1 year in a consistent manner, in the same way. Things will become very easy. You might have seen, okay, see, today also we'll see the topic of like this thing is getting repeated. Axiom formation. They have already asked question and we have also done this thing. Okay, so again the same thing is repeated. Whoever the persons that are selected for this mission, they are kept for quarantine before they are taken into the spacecraft. Okay, so like I said, you need to just recollect in your own language what is this axiom formation. Okay, you don't have to remember everything. So basically it is a private mission. Okay, they want to do some kind of private project. For that private project, they are sending astronauts to the space. particularly International Space Station. So if I ask you in one line, what is Axiom 4 mission? You have to say, first the private project. They are building some mission, probably private space station, which is yet to be announced. For that purpose, they are sending the astronauts to the space station, International Space Station. Who they are sending? Okay, with whom they are collaborating? They are collaborating with the NASA, and NASA is collaborating with our ISRO. So we are also sending the Indian astronaut in this mission. Why are we sending? Because we also have Gaganyaan mission, and also we are also trying to build International Space Station, our own International Space Station. So when our astronaut travels in the space, then we will also get that scientific learning. So this is the thing that you need to know. So why the International Space Station? Where is this? In which orbit? So you have a lower Earth orbit, middle Earth orbit, and the higher Earth orbit. LEO, MEO, and higher Earth orbit. Basically, if this is the Earth surface, if this is your Earth surface, okay. So lower Earth orbit, it is around till 1000 kilometers. Higher Earth orbit, it is around 36,000 kilometers. 36,000, and in somewhere it is, you have the MEO, middle Earth orbit, till 1000. We will call it as a lower Earth orbit. Your International Space Station is present here. So they conduct various experiments, microgravity experiments. Okay, how the things react in the space, what kind of physiological changes the person might go in the space, what kind of changes in the gravity that happens, how the various biological organisms respond. So various experiments they will keep on conducting at the International Space Station, which is present at the lower Earth orbit, somewhere around 400-500 kilometers. And this will be discontinued in a few years. Maybe the space, this International Space, whatever this station is there. So its life cycle will end in 5 years, 4 or 5 years. So that's why every country is developing their own space station. Okay. So very fundamental thing, whenever we say International Space Station, then the first point that you have should come into your mind, what is that? Okay, it's a project to convey, to do some microgravity and some experiments. It is there in the lower Earth orbit. Will be discontinued. So every country is building their own International Space Station. Now why are we studying this thing? Because Axiom 4 mission, they are sending astronauts to this thing. Now what is this Axiom 4 mission? So within simple keywords in your words, you have to say, okay, as sending astronauts to the space station, and India is also sending. Now, what is Gaganyaan? Gaganyaan is not the this one. Okay, we are sending the astronauts to the space. Okay, so that is a different mission. ISRO is going to launch. For that also, we are also developing a kind of new vehicle. Okay, spacecraft. Okay, we are now currently whatever the satellites we launch using the rocket. Okay, that launching vehicle does not come back. When you enter into any aircraft, like say when you take up Airbus, when you travel by flights, they will pick you up, they will land you, right? They will not get dismantled in the air. But rockets, they will deliver satellites and they will not come back. Okay, they will get dismantled there, okay, in the space. But this is causing us huge. Every time we have to develop a rocket. So now they want to develop a kind of rocket which can deliver satellite and come back safely, so that we don't have to make rockets again and again. Okay. So this will be also helpful to take our astronauts in the space and bring them back safely. Okay, we are in the process of developing these things. Always understand things in the fundamental manner. Okay. So this was also repeated. So this is how things will be repeated. Definitely you will see the question from the current affairs which we are doing. If you do this consistently for 1 year, you will see we have done Kaladan multimodal project. They have asked INSTC corridor. This was also in the news. So in the same way, there is high possibility that they will ask Kaladan multimodal project. Okay, they will ask from where it is traveling. Okay, which are the endpoints that are being connected. Okay, so today we will do this Sela tunnel. See here, Northeast, again it is in the news. Again today in the editorial they were talking about diversity. Only when we focus on the diversity, then only we will see the benefits. We have already done. Why focusing on the Northeast is important? Now you guys need to recollect at least 3 or 4 points. Why focusing on the Northeast is important for me? you should pause for a while, and for 30 seconds, you need to brainstorm. Whatever the strategic reasons we have discussed, security reasons we have discussed, socio-economic development we have discussed. Then you also need to think what are the areas or problems of concerns in this Northeast. I have already told you, okay, the problem of drug trafficking in that area. You have the Golden Crescent in the Southeast. Okay, from that area, drugs are being smuggled in this Northeast area. Okay, so that is one of the major security concerns. And also bordering areas, Myanmar and also Bangladesh. You will also have the movement of the people, these illegal migrants coming from this area, and also the movement of whoever this extremist group are there. Okay, they keep on moving in this porous borders. All these areas, all these Northeast areas are you have this kind of Himalaya mountains and forest and all, and it is very difficult to track this area. So they commit some kind of crime and they enter into the other country and becomes very difficult. So we have discussed this thing, and I have also told you there is conflicts going on between tribal groups. So one thing in Manipur, okay, you might have seen currently there is a president rule going on. Why there is a president rule? Conflict was going on between two major tribal groups, Metis and Kukis. Okay, this is one kind of tribal group that is going on, tribal conflict. Then you might have also seen, okay, once there was a time, okay, Naga issue, Greater Nagalim was a huge security threat. Government has made some deal with them, but still nothing has progressed. This is another thing, Greater Nagaland. The same way, see, there used to be this thing, okay. See, Bodo issue also there back those days. So this was given in the news. Bodo Peace Accord and Bru refugee settlement. This was done. Okay, see here. Now, what was this Bru refugees? Bru were basically, the community originally belonged from the Mizoram. They fled to Tripura because of ethnic conflicts. Okay, some settlement has been done finally in the Mizoram with the government intervention. They can simply ask Bru, okay, belongs to which state, Bru community. You should be having that clarity. Then there was an issue of the Bodos also. Okay, they were asking for the Bodo land, separate state. Then some accord has been made. Okay, they were also given some more autonomy. Okay, the Bodo Peace Accord. Okay, to bring the stability and the peace in this region. Right? So now, if I ask you, okay, what are the issues present in the Northeast, you will be able to write at least 4 or 5 points with also specific details, right? Tribal versus tribal, okay, tribal versus outsiders, tribal with the government or locals with the government, the current protest that is going on in the Manipur, okay, against the government. Yes, it is happening, okay, that will not be for the long term. Okay, the core issue is this tribal conflicts is going on. That's what we have to make sure that there is a peace, because we are talking about Act East policy through Northeast. If the investments has to come, there should not be such kind of fightings and all, right? Only when there is stable environment, then only you will invest. If you are an investor, will you invest in the area where you can be smuggled? No, right? Only when there is policy stability, when there is social stability, security, then only you will invest. So that kind of security government is trying to provide. The second thing, then you will ask, okay, you have provided the law and order security. Now, what about the roads? Are there roads? So government, we have also seen various projects. Now, in the same way, government is also developing one more, Sela tunnel. Okay, if you can see here, they are trying to connect this Tezpur of the Assam to this Tabang. Okay, one of the famous place of your Arunachal Pradesh. So here, Sela Plus. They are also developing highway project in the Arunachal Pradesh along this border area with China, along this line of actual control. Line of actual control is not an international border line. Okay, it's a kind of, you can think of a kind of agreement. Okay, not an agreement also does not happen properly. Okay, it's a kind of line of zone between the India and China. Okay, we somehow want to make it as a kind of international border line. Okay, there is difference. Line of actual control is between the India and China, and line of control is between the India and the Pakistan. Okay, so we are also developing infrastructure projects. This is one such project. Now Sela Pass, definitely they may ask, okay, or Sela Tunnel. In this pass, we are developing the tunnel. Okay, this is one more infrastructure project that we are talking about. Who are constructing that thing? Border Roads Organization at the altitude of 13,000 kilometer. Okay, connecting the Arunachal Pradesh Tawang to the Tezpur of the Assam. Okay, so when you read locations on day-to-day basis, then things will not become difficult for you. Okay, so you might be getting confused. Okay, where is the Tezpur and all. So when you see here Kaziranga. Again, it is also one of the important location in Assam for the national park also and all. This area we'll see frequently in the news because of the flooding and all. Okay, so you need to be aware. See here we are seeing Tezpur. Now we'll see Kaziranga. There is also Nameri National Park. Keep keep looking at these locations frequently so that mapping becomes not that difficult for you. See, now this year they have asked the mapping related questions. Those are very difficult. Now, according to me, if the mapping, if it is at that difficulty level, it will not spoil your chances. Your chances of clearing prelims will be affected when the easy questions are asked, but you are not able to do. If the very difficult questions are asked, if you are not able to do, it will not spoil any of your chances. There were so many easy questions in the paper. Okay, like if you have seen the economy, history, even in the geography, some NCERT based questions are there. Okay, those questions, if you make it wrong, then only your chances of clearing the prelims will be affected. Those questions like now you might, when you gone through a paper, okay, you might have seen those kind of mapping locations and all, you might have feel very difficult and all. Okay, yes, that is very difficult. You will do your best, but that is difficult for everyone. Very few people would have been solved that question. That also with just tukka. Okay, not with the right accurate information. Okay, so do not worry or get concerned about those kind of questions. Keep your preparation same. Okay, the locations which are coming in the newspapers, you will be studying them. The major locations which every country has, those you should be aware of as a part of your static preparation of the geography. Chalo. So now see, northeast part, we have progressed. Now we are able to do various things. See here, so what are the various initiatives being taken up by the government? Sela Tunnel. Okay, in the same way, there is also Bhupen Hazarika Bridge in the Assam. This was also given in the editorial. Then highways are being constructed, which I have mentioned, railways, waterways on the Brahmaputra and the Barak River. Now I want you to see tomorrow, okay, once after going home, where is this Barak River and the Brahmaputra on the map. Okay, like this conflict resolution measures also. Now, if they ask something on the northeast, definitely you will not go blank. Now you have some base with you. With like I want you to also see, going back home, see the northeast states capitals and try to arrange them north to south. Okay, so northeast is so much in focus. Okay, they can ask these kind of questions also. Okay, see.
Does government does water services? Government will do water services. Like
anyone can do. Okay, Inland Waterways Act is there. Okay, so we are trying to develop, just like a national highways, we are also trying to develop national waterways. Okay, so
no government does government transportation services.
it is there. It is there. Yes, they are doing. So are we clear about this? So like this, as you go on, you will be able to build lot of content. So as for the demand of the question, you will just answer them. Okay, now see, by-elections are in the news. Okay, the election commission has announced the elections date for these by-elections for 4 or 5 states. Now, for whom it is announced, that's all is not important. What is this by-elections? That concept is important for us. So generally, usually elections happens for every 5 years, 2019, 2024, 2029. Elections has happened, but there is some vacancy occurred. Okay, maybe the person got disqualified or he resigned from his post or death has happened. Now elections has to be conducted. Immediately when there is a vacancy, you have to conduct elections within the 6 months time span. Only if there is a election due date within the next 1 year, then it's fine. Okay. So in 2 cases, elections need not be conducted. Usually, how many months? Within the 6 months of the vacancy, you should conduct the elections. But if the next election is within the 1 year time frame, okay, for suppose some vacancy has happened 4 months or 5 months before the election time period, okay, within the 1 year time span, then it is not required. Also in the case where the election commission sends a notice to the government that there is some kind of threat or some security issues are there, we cannot conduct the elections. Okay, in these 2 cases, we will not conduct the by-elections, or else usually within the 6 months the elections has to be conducted. Simple. Now you got the clarity what is the by-election. Okay, so by-elections are necessary when the seat becomes vacant due to situations such as death, resignation, disqualification or expulsion. So caste census we have already discussed. Now this was the thing given in the Indian Express. So I'm collecting articles from anywhere, okay, down to the I'm going through all the 3-4 years articles, like previous articles as well in the Hindu that has appeared and all. So I'm trying to collect all the information and keep it at one place. So this is again important because they have also asked some indigenous technologies. They are focusing on the indigenous technologies in the prelims, and they are also focusing on the indigenous technologies in the mains also. We have also previously seen at some point I have also mentioned about the indigenous technology when we are talking about the defense. Like say there we have mentioned about various tracking systems like Akash Tir we have mentioned, Barak we have mentioned. Okay, then we have mentioned about this BrahMos. Though we have taken the missiles from the Israel and the technology from the Russia and all for the BrahMos, how we have used that system to manufacture in India, how we have added the indigenous components. Certain things are completely indigenous. Okay, they are like these things you have to always focus. Okay, this is very important for us. Whenever there is indigenization of technology, there is high chances they can ask. Govt they have asked in this year. Okay, it was so much in the news. The simple question they have asked is, it was made with the Germany. Okay, if you eliminate that statement, you can arrive at an answer. Okay, whoever has followed the basic that year, because so many railway accidents has happened. Govt was a major reform they were talking about. Okay, for the locomotives and all. So the aspirant is supposed to know that thing. So in the same way, that's why I have taken up this technology. This is the indigenization of technology. Now you see, you have, so what is the context of the news? The IIT researchers at the Institute's National Center for Photovoltaic Research and Education, led by so-and-so, has successfully engineered a semi-transparent perovskite solar cell, which is laid over the traditional silicon-based solar cell. So basically, they have developed some solar cell, okay, so which is made up of the component called perovskite. So this is the thing that they have given. Okay, now they have given these. It has certain importance and the advantages. But before getting into that, we need to know what is this solar cell. We are talking about a lot of solar energy, development of the solar energy. So for that, we will develop a solar cells using the silicon component. Okay, what they basically do, they absorb the sunlight and they will convert into the electricity. Traditionally used solar cells are silicon based. Okay, see here, silicon based solar cell. These are the most common type of the solar cells and have been used for the decades. They are made from the silicon, a semiconductor material that efficiently converts the sunlight into the electricity. Now, but somehow, in order to develop this solar silicon-based solar cells, we need to import from the China and the other countries. Now, this new solar cell, which they are talking about, is the perovskite materials. Okay, they can be developed indigenously from India. They have a higher efficiency. They can capture a lot of heat and they can convert into the more electricity. But somehow, till now, they are not able to use this material because they are unstable in the environment. They can easily degrade it. Now they have found out a technology to utilize them properly, and this can be made indigenously. So our import dependency will be reduced. Now we can be able to generate more power and efficiency can be increased. So that's how they have used some 2 layers. So in the 2 layers, they are using both the things. See, top layer, this perovskite cell, and the bottom layer, silicon cell. This is what they are trying to develop. Okay, this is the current 4T structure developed by the IIT Bombay with a lifespan of 10 plus years. So simply they can ask, what is this a 4T structure or perovskite again in use, which is related to this thing or that thing, they can ask. Okay. So this is the basic fundamental level of understanding, that much is required for us. Clear? Now see, there is an editorial in the Indian Express. They are talking about our core industries has been weakened. Now every month, so before getting into this, so we have mentioned about the GDP. What do you mean by GDP? Final value of the goods and services produced in the country. Okay. So let's say X person has produced goods worth of 25 rupees. Y produced goods worth of 25. Okay. Some Z, okay, some 50. So what is the final value? It is 100 rupees. Like this, in the country, whoever has produced something, the monetary value of that final goods and services produced is the GDP. Okay. Now within this, there is agriculture, industries, and the services, right? Okay. So we need to get data. Central Statistical Organization, they will, under the Ministry of the Statistics, they will be involved in this, gathering the data and releasing the what is the GDP of the India and what is the growth that is happening compared to the previous year. Now say in the 2024 it is 100 rupees. Now it is 105 in the 2025. Now how much growth rate? 5%. Now say next year 110. 5 is fine, but percentage wise less than 5. Okay, it is somewhere around 4.5 or something. Right? This is called the growth rate. Now here growth rate has been slowed down. GDP is not slowed down. Okay, growth rate has been slowed down. So in this way, now there are industries. These are also being tracked. Index of industrial production is there. Okay, IIP index. Okay, so this also like gathers the information about the growth rate or else the production that is happening in the industries. Now within these industries, there are some industries which are contributing to 40% of the production. These are called as core industries. Whose data will be released every month so that you can track. Only when you have data you can track. Okay. So when they have tracked, they have found the core industries are not growing properly. Okay, there is a slowdown has happened in the last month. This is the current affair. But they will they ask, okay, what was the growth rate of core industries in the March, in the April? No, right? So they will ask, who is collecting this information? What percentage of the industries are the core industries? Okay, this is for the prelims point of view. Now, from the mains point of view, of course, as a whole part of the GDP, industries are one major component because industry is the one which can create the employment. Only when there is an industrial growth, then only you will be able to address your unemployment issue to the mass. We have like say every year maybe we see 70 or 40 lakh people coming out for the jobs. Now service sector, tech oriented sector, even your agriculture cannot produce jobs for this whole mass. Okay, so you need labor intensive sector like textile, automobile. Okay, these kind of sectors will be able to provide leather industries more jobs. So focus on the industries is very important. Electronic industry, refined industry, and within those industries also certain industries are very core. Their growth tracking is very important. So this is what we have done. Now this is very important. See, it's index of 8 core industries which accounts for 40% of the total weight in the index of industrial production. So what is this weight? Okay, you need to remember the weight is given. Okay, the weight is given higher is least for the fertilizers and highest for the refineries, crude oil and the refineries. Not this one. Okay, petroleum refinery products. Okay, within the core industry, the highest weight has been allotted to this. Totally, there are 8, highest for this, least for the fertilizer industry. Okay, who is the one releasing the report? See here, The IIP is released monthly by the Ministry of the Statistics and the Program Implementation, while Index of the Core Industries will be released by the Ministry of the Commerce with a time lag of 1 month. Okay, so are we clear? The factual part. So this is again they can ask these kind of questions. Very simple. So you are aware. Now you are focusing on the factual part also, as well as a bigger dimension also. You are also getting clarity. Why are we collecting the data? Because only when you have the data, you will know the momentum, how the growth is happening within the sectors of the economy. Sectors of the economy are the 3 sectors: agriculture sector, industrial sector, and then service sector. Within the industrial sector, you will also have the core sector or manufacturing sector. Okay, this way, this will be subsectors within the broader sector. Right? Are we clear? So there is slowdown happening. So that's why reason that is in the news. Now, see, like say we have seen the issue that is going on in the regarding the Manipur transport and all. That is not the important. The bus was actually attending the state festival. Okay, the state festival was Shirui Lily Festival. Now, this becomes important for us. Okay, so basically they can simply ask the Shiruri Lily. Okay, like where it is endemic. Okay, basically that is this is the thing that we are talking about. That this is a Shiruri Lily. Okay, it is endemic to the upper reaches of the Shirui hill range in the Ukhrul district in the your Manipur. Okay, this is the point that you need to know. Cultural significance known as Kasong Temarwan. I do not know how it will be pronounced. So this is the some factual information that you need to know. Okay, because this was the event they were trying to attend. Okay, those just like in the Telangana also you have the Batukama festival. Okay, they will use that particular plants and all, right. The same way they are also associated this lily with the goddess, and for them it is religiously and culturally important. Okay, so they can ask that kind of prelims related factual question. Now, oil spills. So a cargo ship, okay, like you might have seen in the main news only. Okay, so our Indians have rescued. Okay, when the cargo ship, okay, I think it got like turned down. Okay, it was going to sink, and it has actually sinked, and we have rescued the people. Okay, so in that process, some of the oil has been spilled into the sea surface. Now, why are we concerned with this? Okay, oil spill is one of the serious problem. So when I say oil spill, the first concept that has to come into your mind is the one which I am going to now mention. Okay, why are we concerned about the oil spill? Oil has been spilled. Now say whatever the organisms that are living just beneath the surface of the sea, they will not get the sunlight because that layer got filled up with oxygen. The organisms will survive based on the sunlight and the oxygen. Because of this oil coverage, the oxygen will be blocked, sunlight will be blocked. This can cause death of the marine organisms. You will have higher biodiversity in the upper layer of the ocean surfaces. Pelagic surface, which we call it as pelagic surfaces are the higher in the biodiversity because they receive abundant sunlight and the oxygen. Now, with the spillage of the oil, this sunlight is blocked and the oxygen is blocked. Death of the organisms happen, and this is happening in the areas where there is so much of the coral reefs. Coral reefs are known for a lot of biodiversity. Basically, coral reefs are kind of calcareous structures formed because of the deposition. Now, at these structures, you will also see various other marine organisms living there, breeding there, having life over there. You will see rich biodiversity. Now, if such a kind of oil spill happens in that area, it is a threat to entire coral biodiversity. Coral biodiversity is one of the significant biodiversity zones. protecting these biodiversity zones, coral biodiversity hotspots are very, very important. Okay, and people also visit these coral biodiversity zones as a tourist spot. First, biodiversity loss. Okay, then tourism is also lost. Now you have to remove this oil layer. Again, it is a kind of economic cost to you. So there is a economic cost, environmental cost, social cost. The people who are dependent on these organisms, entire fish industry might get affected. Okay? So this is why we should take care such oil spills are not happen. So we have certain measures. So these they can ask the direct question in the mains. Discuss the threats or consequences of the oil spills and measures taken. This can be a direct question they can ask in the disaster management or in the geography. In the prelims, they can ask on the individual measures, the international measures they can ask. So these things are given. Now how the oil pollution can happen. So these are the basic normal things. You can go through the material, you will understand. So whatever the points that I have discussed, the damage that it can cause, economic and all, those are mentioned here. Okay, so see here the measures. One thing is we have this National Oil Spill Disaster Contingency Plan. How this thing will be handled. This is managed by the Indian Coastal Guard. We have also seen one more thing regarding the Indian Coastal Guard a while ago. Okay, when we are discussing about the olive ridley turtles, right? Okay, so try to connect this way. And we also have this Merchant Shipping Act provides a legal framework for the shipping regulations aimed at preventing the oil spills. And then we also use some kinds of bioremediation technology, like this is an oil zapper, one kind of technology to clean up the oil spills. And also you have international convention on the civil liability, some measures you can see. Okay, and important among this is the Marpol Convention. Okay, we have all the provisions that are important I have mentioned here. Okay, you can go through those factual things. And there was also now one more article in the Hindu editorial. They were talking about India should provide the digital infrastructure to the Africa. Okay, so now why is Africa important to us? See, Africa is currently least developed thing, least developed economy. There is lot of scope for the development. Now you see the most of the development is happening in the currently in the developing countries, but not in the developed countries. Why? Because things are stagnated there. Already buildings are there. What will you do? They don't need any new roads. You don't need any airports. Everything is built. So there will be a saturation. Why India is going to grow? For sure, because there is a lot of scope. In the same way, these African countries, they are even below India. Okay, so in future, India's market can also get stagnated. So we need new markets, like I have told you previously. In the India, everyone might get aware, okay, and they get conscious and they do the savings or they invest. Now, whatever the money you have, you are doing the savings or investment. Then you will not purchase. Now I have produced something. You are saying, I want to save. I want to invest. Then who will purchase my product? Then I will export it. Now Africa is a new scope. Okay. So I have told you in the previous session also, what is the economy of India in terms of the monetary value? Currently $4 trillion. Okay, what is the economy of the USA? It is 30 trillion. China 20. So you can see the space we have. Okay, so definitely we will meet them soon. Okay, in few years, maybe 2047. That is the target we have. Okay, so this is what I am saying, the space, the scope we have for the potential. Now, in order to reach to 2047, here itself I am saying one more point. If you have to hit this $20 trillion, $30 trillion, every state should grow. Every state should be able to generate 2 trillions, $3 trillion dollars and all, right? So in the same way, every state is trying to come up with their own policy. You might have seen Andhra Pradesh is trying to attract investments. They have also released 2047 vision document. In the same way, today Tamil Nadu, they have come up with the space policy. They have one of the ISRO facility there. Okay, they want to promote like private players, private entrepreneurship in the space technology. So that's why they have come up with the space policy, because every state have these targets to to generate more and more GDP, $2 trillion, $3 trillion. Then only we will be able to cross China, USA in future. Okay, we have that potential, but that will not be utilized if every states they are not respecting the diversity, if there is no tolerance, they are fighting among others, one another, and if you don't handle the global warming issue properly, okay, the climate change threats, if you don't take them properly, okay, if you don't invest in a necessary infrastructure, then we are going to face the challenges. So that's why government is investing in the infrastructure and all. Government is taking all the measures. Okay. So now see here. So that's why this is the reason we are developing the digital infrastructure and we are trying to provide them. Okay. So now here one important crucial point is the digital public infrastructure. Digital public infrastructure, which is also called as India stack, India digital stack. So within the India stack, there are various health stack, education stack. So what are these things? Primarily, India's digital infrastructure has three components. First thing is identification. Okay, identification. How does the government do the identification currently? Aadhaar enabled. Okay, so Aadhaar is linked to your data, and through Aadhaar they will do the identification. Now government has to make sure you are getting some kind of services. So government is providing platform of various services, like you will see here. Okay, see here, CoWIN platform, Diksha, these are certain things, certain platforms. Okay, you have various platforms that are being developed by the government to provide the services. Now you have to purchase some services also. You also have the UPI. So these are the three core components: identification, payment, and the digital services, platform-based services. Okay, very important thing. This is called India stack. Nothing but the India's digital public infrastructure. Okay, this question already I think asked in the UPSC mains. Discuss the progress of India's digital public infrastructure. Okay, we are trying to develop this India stack. Okay, we are the very first country trying to develop this level of digital infrastructure. So we can share this technology with the Africa also. We can develop this kind of technology. So we can build good relations. But problem is India is not able to deliver its promises. We have our own challenges. Funds they are like we do not have that money, that much of money. So there is a saying, we promise and China delivers. Okay, there is a saying. Okay, so China is able to make deep roots because they have deep pockets and they are able to deliver things. The same thing is also happening with the Nepal. We promise power projects, hydropower projects, thermal power projects, infrastructure projects, but we don't construct them. Okay, then China will take advantage of it and China will construct them. Okay, somehow, but China gives all that money in the form of loan. Okay, so ultimately they will depend on the China. They have to repay back that loan. Then this is also called as a checkbook diplomacy of the China. Okay, you might have heard this thing, checkbook diplomacy. Okay, they are giving the loans, but ultimately they are depending on the China. But India, most of the loans are in the form of soft loans, or India will give the grants. One thing is, we'll do arams, slowly, gradually. Okay, so India should streamline these things. Okay, this is also one of the key steps in the diplomacy. Only if you are able to give some money, okay, grants and all, then only nations will also listen to you. Okay, so that should be there with us. Okay, so what are the challenges? The same thing which I have mentioned. So study the newspaper in the same way. So one thing you need to know, where it will be asked, the big picture, how it is relevant for the mains, and the factual details for the prelims. The first thing, always, what is it? Why is it? At least one or two why questions you should be able to answer. Digital public infrastructure. What are the three components? Basic infrastructure, just like roads and railways, you are laying the digital infrastructure. For that, the three components is, you need to have the payments, you need to have the identification, you need to have the platform. Like this in your own language, you should be able to gather the points. If you can do this much, I'm telling you, you will get very good conceptual clarity as you proceed, and making facts sit over there becomes very easy. You need then, like say now government has come up with some new platform, you will be able to easily remember because you know the framework and you can easily fit these things there. You have the infrastructure, you have the roads, railways, in the same way you have the digital infrastructure. Like, so that's all for today. Thank you for the session. We'll meet tomorrow. Bye bye.